Hello, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're
Yes,
audible. Good morning.
Okay. All right. So yeah, welcome to the session from. With a very short notice, I guess we have given it yesterday itself, right? Yeah, but yeah. So some day time we have to manage, right? Because we are lagging with some content, so that it will be helpful for you. And don't worry if some of you cannot join. You can watch these sessions anytime on YouTube, right? So they will be there. Just give me a minute. All right. Yeah. So I guess in the last Saturday session, you have had the Solve with Instructor for week 3, right? Where we talk about basic Jinja templating, right? So that was more corely dependent or focused on Jinja with Python, right? So you imported Jinja 2, and then with that we have written codes within the Python file, and then rendered them with the Python, right? So that was the idea. Here in today's session, we'll be introducing Flask, right? So with the introduction of Flask, we will give you some idea on how basic websites are created. I hope you have gone through the screencast of week 4, because already this is week 5. And yeah, so you may have gone through the screencast of week 4. Might have got some things from there, might have got everything. There may be some doubts. We'll try to clear in this session. And the basic idea is to now to incorporate the things that we have learned in Jinja, and then incorporate it within the application that we are going to create with the help of Flask. So that is the basic idea, right? So before I go to the session, there is one doubt here in the chat. Okay, so this is week 3 lab assignment. All right. App.py minus s 10012001. Yeah, so I guess this will work. This will not say something went wrong. This should not say ideally. Why? Because with hyphen s, you're saying that the next data that you put in is student data, right? And the next data that you're putting in is, I'm assuming, if it is student data, then it should consider that and work with that, move ahead with that. It will neglect the 2001. I mean, your list of arguments will have 2001, but I think you are not using, let's say, the indexing of that, unless you are using indexing -1. Okay, so -1 refers to the last part of the list. If that is done, it will take 2001. In that case, it will show something went wrong. Okay, if you are referencing only the app.py, the name of the file, the second argument, that is -s, and the third argument, okay, with index 2, then I guess 2001, you keep whatever after that, it will be there as a part of argument, but will not be used in the program. So they should work. Okay, all right. Okay, so it was everyone, right? So everyone got what was the doubt. All right. So yeah, so in this session, same thing, we'll go with a normal question statement initially. You'll be starting with it. I'll explain what we are doing, and then we'll move ahead with the code. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Okay, so my screen should be visible. I will open Replit. Yeah. Okay, Amit will try to do that. Yeah, so this is the question statement. Is this yeah, it should be visible now. Okay, so what we are doing is we are creating a basic Flask app, and which is pretty much similar. So what we are doing here will be, I guess, will be helpful in a week 4 lab assignment, I guess, because it is where you will be using forms to enter the data. Okay, so what we are doing is we are creating a basic Flask app, and what it does is it adds a new course to the system. Okay, so this is I'm referring to the week 2 and week 3, I mean, Solve with Instructor sessions, where we added, 3 courses, right? So those 3 courses were static, and nothing else could have been done with those courses. Only the information referring to those courses was there. Here what we are doing, we are creating a form which will add new course to the system. Now we are not using any database, so this course will not be, permanently added. Okay, this course will not be permanently added. The idea is to not save the course that we are putting in. The idea is to understand how some information is put into the application with the help of form, and how to retrieve that information from the form and do whatever you want with that information. In our case, we will inputting some information. For example, if you see the step to be followed, right, the form can have fields like name of the course, course code, details of course, relevant image, and additional information, right? So these are some fields that we will be creating in the form. Okay, and we will so once this fields are taken up, I mean someone puts in the values for these fields, how are we going to take them at the backend, process them, and then render it on the templates, right? Render it on an HTML page. That's the idea. Okay, so at the end of the day, I mean after this session, what we will learn, we'll learn some basics of Flask, right? Some basics routing, how are we going from one page to the other, how the templates are being rendered, and then there is a concept called as template inheritance. So we'll try to see that briefly. Okay, this is what we are going to do. Any doubts here? Anyone? Okay, so what is important is you just have to see that the name of the course, course code, details of course, these things are there. Yeah, one thing to be added, for example, if you want to add some stylings to the page that you will be seeing later on, I mean the rendered page, it should have these fields, and then whatever information that you have put should be there. Right, so you can take the reference of week 2 solve with instructor session. I mean the stylings and the HTML page, the static HTML page that we had created, that we can be taken. Okay, so okay, let me go to that also. All right, so solve with instructor week 2. Gets this. Yeah, so this is what we did, right? Just let me run this. Yeah, all right, so okay, let me just open this. Yeah, so this is the basic page, right? We added some styling which we did in the last sessions, and this is the what we say format. So let's say currently what it shows, information on programming courses. So you can have some info, I mean this is some static data, and then whatever you take with the help of form, course name can be added like this, so should come here. Okay, then the course code and things, course code and details about the course can come in the next page, where we are actually giving the details of the page that we statically created, right? So this was the copy pasted thing that we did from Wikipedia, right? So same thing can be done, but what we want is the information not being directly put on HTML, but the information should be put in the form of, or in the HTML form, which can be later on retrieved at the backend and then shown here. Okay, all right, we won't need this, I mean the list and all. Okay, as I said in the question statement, you can have course name, course code, information, additional information, and image. So image relevant to that course, or any image you can put. Now in this links, additional information can be something that redirects you to the page, same page on the Wikipedia, right? So for example, let's say I have this course, modern application development 1, and this is the information that I've put through form. This one, I mean from here till here, I have put through form, and then there is some link that will take me to the source page of Wikipedia, right? So which will be additional information. Again, that link should be put in the form of some link in the form, right? So it should not be hard coded in the HTML, because it will vary with the course. Okay, so this is what we want to do. So for that, I mean, for this to come like this, you can take the structure of this app, I mean, this HTML file, index.html, and the style.css, right? So you can take this. I hope you have the files for the previous Solve with Instructor sessions, right? So if you have the files, you can download the files from there. How to take it in your own REPL, for example, just let's say you're taking this index.html, just download it, okay? Download it. It will be locally downloaded in your system. Similarly with style.css, right? It will be locally, if I download this, it will locally download in the system. Then you can go to your REPLs, okay? Go to the REPL that we are working with now. For example, this is the sample REPL for Markdown I created, right? And here, once this is done, you can upload this file, right? File upload, and then the index.html. Okay, so you have the entire file with you here. Okay, only that here we'll be using only the structure, not the exact information being written in the HTML, right? Yeah, somebody have unmuted. Okay. All right. So I hope you all got the question statement. I'll just have the question statement here. Okay, what I'll do is I'll also download the other file, the style.css, and then share this REPL with you so that you have the question statement and index and style to work with. Okay. I'll just upload the CSS also. Yeah. Okay. So this index.html is basically given to you so that you have the structure. I mean, the doc type, title, what is the thing? Okay, what we don't need is this one. And also additional links is all not required. We'll keep the Wikipedia as is because we'll be using content from there itself. Okay, this also is not required. Fine. So you have this subject. Yeah. So this relevant image, this is something that you will be adding on later, and this information also, right? So you can this HTML is only given so that you have the structure. Okay. Let me just rename this. We will not need more than one file. Okay. And the main.py is where you'll write the actual Flask code. Okay. I'll just okay. Yeah. Just see if you can poke this REPL. Yeah, can anyone give me the confirmation? Just open the REPL and see if you can poke it. You'll have all the files or not. Okay, you're having, right? Okay. Yeah, so you'll have question statement also. I'll keep the question statement presented for let's say 5 minutes because I just want to give you a head start. Okay, and then we will start with the actual coding from my side. Okay, so just let me share the same thing. Okay, Okay, so you'll have this. There is not much information given here, just basic start off. Yeah, so it's 10:20 now. We'll start by 10:25. Okay, you can start off with 5 minutes break. So we'll start from very basic, simple application creation from Flask. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. Okay, I'll just mute for 5 minutes, next 5 minutes, and then I'll come back, and then we'll start coding on at 10:25. You can start off. You can create your own REPL and then work with it. Yeah, if there is any doubt regarding the question statement, you can ask.
Sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, actually, my doubt is regarding this whole lab assignment thing.
Okay.
So, sir, first of all, like I got the results of lab assignment one. I thoroughly checked, and I also asked my one or two of my friends to check whether if it is as per the given statement. So it was okay. But again, I mean, in the report it was written that some problem with anchor tag or something like that. And for that, I lost about one third of my marks. So, frankly speaking, the marks is not that important, but I can't understand what I have done wrong. And second of all is that I think these lab assignments are much tougher than what is taught to us in our lecture videos.
Okay. See, the thing is, lab assignments are not tough, I would say. The thing is, the way they are evaluated makes it tough. Okay. So we have, pre-written
Yes, sir,
codes.
you are correct. You are absolutely right, sir. The
Yeah.
lab assignment itself are not tough. The way they are evaluated are tough. Like in lab assignment code also, I did everything correct. Everything was okay. But whenever I was trying to submit it, then it was giving me some test number three. The test number three, what I don't even understand what it was trying to test. but test 3 was always coming as failed.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Yeah. So see, so this is something that the what we say, the pre-written code is doing, right? So we have the evaluation scripts that work at the background, and they are very, I mean, strict with even the subtle changes in the code, right? So that is the reason we are not very flexible with the evaluation of lab assignments. In other cases, we can say, so even if you see the live sessions that we take, and what we do, the thing is, even if we make some changes, things will work. Okay. And with the this is not the case with lab assignments. So that is the reason we have told that you have to stick to question statement very much. Okay. uh, yeah, and you have been doing that, no issues with that, you have been doing that, but the thing is, some things remain, not understood. So yeah, so what we'll try to do is, in we have been trying to do is, if there is a report and then if you see that there is any discrepancy in the mask, just you have, I guess you have put it on discourse, right? If that is the issue.
Yes, sir. But
Okay, so so if you have put it on the discourse, we'll get back to you with your code and then check, if it is possible, we'll check the code and let's see where exactly the evaluation script is creating the issue, I mean, marking things as wrong. And if that is literally wrong, then we'll get back to you and let you know. Okay, so that we generally do with that happens in most of the cases whenever the results are out. Okay, what you have to take is not the score as such. Okay, just go with the learning currently. Okay, and
okay, sir.
eventually, so what happens is, in week 2 and 3, mostly we have to stick with the question statement, because there are so many changes that can, I mean, there's so many variations of code that can be there. Okay, in the coming weeks, week 5, 6, 7, right there, most of the case, I mean, most of the things, as far as the code or front end is concerned, the HTML pages, stylings, if there is any, whatever is there is provided within the question statement. Okay, so you won't face this problem after week 3. From week 4 onwards, it will be pretty clear. Okay, so this is the case for week 2 and 3, because the only reason being, if you yourself see that there can be so many variations with the HTML and CSS, and you can still end up with the same output. Okay, so with that, we have to select one way. Okay, one, I'm not saying that that is the only way, I'm saying one way, and then with that way, we have created the question statement. So anyone diverting from the question statement and getting something wrong doesn't mean that it is wrong. It means that it has not, he or she has not followed the way we wanted it to do. So you don't have to worry if so many things are getting wrong at this stage. Later on, for sorry, for other assignments, probably from week 4, 5, 6, and 7, it will get clear. You won't face some more major issues.
So, sir, there is a window for, I mean, so correcting whatever that is done wrong, or correcting whatever problem is with my code. Like if I post it in on the discourse, then I will get some response, right? Regarding this.
Yeah, so see, if you are I mean, you're saying that you could not find the exact issue, and still there was some issue shown by the what we say, the output file, I mean the results, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I'm sure there must be some issue. Okay, which will be clear if we go through your files. Okay, so if you post the same thing on discourse, we will go through the file and then let you know what exactly the issue was. In that case, it can be the exact, it may be that, okay, that was mistake from your side. Okay, you did not do it the way we intended, first thing. Secondly, it can be correct, but not in the way we asked you to do, right? So it is a 50-50 thing. Okay, so it
Yes.
can be, it cannot be absolutely wrong that, okay, no, this is the wrong way to do it and you have not done it correctly. That can be one possibility. Other possibility can be, you have done it, you are getting the proper results, no issues with that, but it is not the way we are evaluating. Okay, so you don't, in that case, you don't, even if your marks are going, don't consider that it is wrong. Okay, So you put it on discourse. Will get back to you with your submission.
Okay, sir. And if you could tell something about that test number 3 of lab assignment 4, like we still, I think date was extended, so I can still work with my
Correct.
code.
Okay, correct. So I'll go through that. I am not, I mean, so they are not completely, I mean, all the tests are not in my mind currently. So I'll just go through the, I mean, the portal and content, whatever it is showing, and then I will try to get back to you, create a thread on discourse for that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So week 4 lab assignment, is it about the form?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, so what you have to do is same thing what you have done in week 3. What you have done in week 3, you have given inputs to your code with the help of command line, right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
command line is not a very intuitive way to give inputs. For coders, definitely yes, but for a normal users who want to just use your application, it will not be very intuitive because it has a format, it has syntaxes, the way we have to put input. So what is an alternative? What is the most general or obvious alternative to that? Putting the information with the help of forms. Okay. So what we are doing is same thing what we have done in the week 3 lab assignment. We have given inputs with the help of command lines. In week 4, your whatever is happening, process is happening at the back end will not change, but what you need to do now is put your information, student data or whatever it is, course data, I mean whatever it is, that with the help of form. Okay. Now if you put information with the help of form, there won't be questions like hyphen s and hyphen c, because you don't have to you don't have to show the application what you're using. That is taken care of with the help of form. I mean, you have to code in a way that it is taken care of with the help of form. Now, once the data is put into the form, retrieve it at the backend and then serve the HTML files. Okay. Now, what I'm talking about, data retrieve, serving the HTML file, front end, back end. This is where we talk about Flask, right? So initially, till week 3, we did not have any, any way to serve HTML files, creating our own server. Okay. From week 4 onwards, we work with forms. So one way of working with forms is you have something that is appearing on your screen on a web page on the browser, right? Now to handle this data from the browser to your code and then get the data back on your browser, you will need something that works with that, right? And Flask is where this is where the Flask comes in. Okay, so Flask will help you create the server that is a backend, okay, which will serve page on your web browser, that is front end. Okay, which will take data from your browser, that is your forms, that is again front end, uh, take it to the backend, process it, and then mix it to the front. Okay, so this is what we have to do in week 4 lab assignment. Okay, now to get the concepts clear, we have certain screencast, and the reason this service instructor session is taken today on Tuesday is also to get some information or some idea of how Flask works. Okay, so that is the idea. Okay, so this is basically what we have to do in week 4. Now, exactly what should be the form content, how you should put student data, what should be the radio buttons, it is something that is given in the question statement. Okay, how to process that data will not be given in the question statement, but the session and screencast will help you to process that data. Okay. All right. Second, third, fourth anchor statement is used correct. Okay. Evaluation report. Yeah. So see, actually, the some of your HTML pages, for example, week 2 had 4 anchor tags, right? So some of those anchor tags are guiding you to other pages. Okay. And some of your anchor tags are, are taking you from one place to another. I mean, I exactly don't remember, but the functionality in which this anchor tags work, I mean, guiding you from one page to the other is different for different anchor tags. Okay. That is the reason we are calling it first anchor tag, second anchor tag, third and fourth, like that. I guess fourth anchor tag refers to the back button. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so it is, why are we individually having it? Because they individually have different work. It's not that you can use it in any order, right? So that is what we are talking about, anchor tags. Okay. Yeah, so what is this error 404? Somebody saying page not found, error 404. What is this issue about? Bharat, Prajwalit, I guess two of you had this issue. What is this?
We were unable to access the REPL.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't follow the link that's in the chat.
Okay. Do you have the? Oh, see, actually this link is spelling is wrong. That's why you might get problem. Is one link is given by Ajit Kumar. Can you follow that?
No, actually, I mean, when I press on that, I get error 404.
Okay. Wait. Let me resend. Take one of the files. Copy link. Okay. Can you see this? I mean, visit this link now and see if it is working.
Yeah, just a second, I'll check. Yeah, I'm able to access it now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I guess it's 10:37. I think it's way past what we have decided. I think we'll start now. Okay, and then those who are following, those who are lagging behind can simply follow. Write with me, and then if you have any doubt, just let me know. We'll try to clear that. Okay, so yeah, let me open the file, yeah, where I'll make the changes. Okay, so I'll leave this markdown as it is for now, and then there will be console, shell, and markdown. We'll see how we use those. All right, so we have this main.py, index, and style. Okay, we'll use some other folders also. I'll show you later. Okay, just pardon me for the background noise if you're having any. Okay, so what happens is that when so this main.py refers to our application actually. Okay, what web application or class application that we are going to create will be referred by main.py. Okay, but what we need to do is create this main.py as an application. How we do that, I'll just show you. So all these things will be done with the help of Flask. Okay, so basically for that we'll first import Flask. Okay, this Flask with small f is the library or the framework, and the Flask with capital F is actually the method. Okay, or it is the object of this library, which will help us to create the application object. Okay, from Flask import Flask. Okay, and then with that I'll create the application. Okay, so I'm naming it as app. You can name anything you want. Okay, you can name anything. Then only the reference, the way we are referring to this app will change. Okay, I'll show you where it changes. So currently, if I keep this name app as app, I'll have to create the instance of Flask. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So what I've done here, I've created, or I've made my module, that main.py, the file that I was working with. I've made that file as an application of Flask. Okay, this is what I've done. So what this dunder variable name refers to what file you are working with, right? So here we are working with main.py. So what it does, it makes this main.py your Flask application. Okay, so this is what is required here. Then we use something called as decorator. Okay, and then we do this app dot. Yeah. So what I've done here, I've used this decorator app.route. Why we are using this? What it does is I'll show you. Yeah. So and I have given this / as a string to it. Okay. Now what this / means? This / refers to your base address, base URL. Okay. What is the base URL? The URL which is having only the protocol, user, I mean IP name, or IP address and port number. That's all. Okay. Everything that follows, I mean, whatever URL I want to head my application to, that can be added later. Okay, but this is the base URL. I mean, this / actually refers to this. So currently we are using not the secured version of HTTP, only this, right? In most of the systems, local system, I mean, local host or the IP address is referred by this. Okay, and then we have port 5000. 5000, why? Default port of Flask is 5000. So whatever is written here, this much, this is referred by this /. Okay, so this is just for your reference. I'll just write like this. Okay, and then I'll just simply put it here. And comment it. This is not a part of code, right? This is just for your information that this means this, and I've commented it. Okay, so and now I will create a function. Okay, so let's say hello. Okay, we'll start with basic Flask function. I guess you have seen this function everywhere. Okay, written. Hello. Okay, so what happens is, if you talk about Python, this simple written hello, I mean define hello and return hello world would have been any other function that would return hello world as a string whenever you run it or whenever you call it. Okay, what this decorator does is, it, if you see app.route, this, okay, / what it means, whatever is the functionality that is given to this function hello, you map it with this URL. Okay, this is what it means. So how do I map the functionality of a function to a URL? By using app.route decorator. Now, why do I need this app.route decorator? Because I don't want this application to run in my Python file. I want it to run on the web page. I mean, I want the content to be shown on the web server, web page, I mean, on the front end through web server, right? So this is the extra additional functionality that we are adding to this this function with the help of this decorator app.route. Okay, this is the meaning of app.route. Yeah, somebody raised hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So actually, so that at basically means it will execute outside Python, right? That's what the at symbol means. The ampersand symbol.
Outside Python means?
You add an at the beginning, right, of app.route.
Correct.
So
yeah.
ampersand sound, that means it will execute outside Python.
Okay, this function will execute outside Python is what you're saying.
No. Okay, another question is, so the actual code, right? How do I specify which function to be called? Because I actually wrote the code also, it worked. But I realized that I called it a different function name. right? And I am never calling the function from anywhere within my code, but somehow the code executes.
Yeah,
And
that's what. So see, when you are working with Python and you want certain functionality of a function to execute, you call the function, right, within Python. Correct. Now,
That's right,
if you're working on a web page, let's say you're on a website and you want that I should be redirect to a page that takes some information. Okay. If you want that to happen, how will you manipulate your website? With the help of URL, right?
okay, I got it.
Right.
No,
So
my question is not that, sir. See, we put app as flask __ name. So that is the name of the Python program that I'm calling, whatever the name may be.
yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's fine. And in the actual code, right, the assignment, our code has to be under that hello function. That is what typically I've written.
Yeah, correct.
I have never specified anywhere in my code to call that function, but that function is getting called.
Yeah, that's what. So when you hit this URL, see, calling a function in Python is analogous to hitting a URL on web page. What is this app.route doing? It is mapping your function to a URL. So whenever you hit the URL, your function, whichever function is mapped to that URL, will be called.
Okay, and the function is right below the app.root line.
Yeah, so this is what mapping does. That is the extra functionality which app.route, decorator app.route is adding to your function. So your function doesn't need to be explicitly called by you within the program. It has to, it has on the web, whereas on the web page, it has to be, it will be called only when you go to that particular URL.
Thanks, sir. This is so, which means I can call the function any name, right? It could be any name.
Yeah, it can. That's why I put hello, right? So it can be any name.
Thank you,
okay,
sir.
what matters is I am specifying that you run hello when I go to this URL. This is what I'm trying to specify with this functionality app.route.
Here the location matters, so it has to be in the immediately
that's what
following
that's
line.
what so see, while working with Python, we have access to the functions. While working with website, while navigating the website, there is only URL that we can work with. Okay, so navigating to other pages, calling on some functionalities, sending some data, receiving some data. How will you do that? By some URLs. Okay, so your URLs define what to do next.
Great, sir. And then if you write a complicated code, everything has to be done by this function that is following the app.route call.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So here I'm trying to return hello world as a string. I'm not running this function, but whenever I go to the base URL, this hello world will be called off. This is what we are trying to achieve with this additional functionality with the decorator app.route. All right. Hello.
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So, all right. So this is what now the mapping is there. What we need to do next is just run the function. Okay. So once we run this, we'll see what happens. Yes, it will install, because every REPL is independent, will install the dependencies, Flask and its dependencies, everything. Yeah, so now we can see that, see, it says serving Flask app main, right? So Flask app, now the main .py, our module becomes the Flask application. How did we do that? By this. Okay, so this states that you make this module as a Flask app. So that's why it is calling Flask app main. Okay, then debug mode is off, so leave that for now. And then it says that your application is running on this, right? This is the base URL. Okay, and what I've done, I've mapped this base URL to this function called hello. Okay, let's see what happens if I go to this. Yeah, so it says site can be reached for the reason that we need to set host for replit. Why? Because see, what I've done here is 127.0.0.1 is actually the local host. I mean, it refers to your own system. Okay, but since we are using replit, what happens with replit is it is not something that is in your system, right? You're using you're using it from outside, you're using it on web, so it does not understand this address. What we need to do is we need to give the host to it. Okay, okay, with that. Yes, so now it's running, because now what I've done here, I've given a host 0.0.0.0, which means it is a special address that will take care of whatever IP address we are working with. Okay, so since it is running on the web, this application through replit, it is running on the web, it will not understand our local host IP address. Okay, so what this address this 0.0.0.0 does is it says that, okay, you don't have to worry about the local host. Whatever IP address is available, I'll take that and serve my application on that. Okay, so that is what we are getting. Okay, so just let me open this on the larger screen. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it is visible. I'll just zoom in. Yeah, so what we have done is we have simply created a small web application that serves hello world as an HTML page to us. Okay, which is a static HTML page. Okay, we'll go back to this thing. Okay, so, and if you see this here, yeah, if you see this, this solve, since we are using replit for the basic, I mean the base URL for replit is this. Okay, anything that follows will be given after this. Okay, so if you want to map another function to another URL, we will give it through the through the backend in Flask, and then this will appear here. I'll show you how. Okay, so I hope this is clear, right? Simple Flask run. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to run this file. Okay, this is the file that we need to run, and we also need to see that, okay, this is some file that is having static content. Okay, our idea is to take the content through the form and then fill it here. Okay, but before that, we'll see how the static pages are rendered using Flask. Okay, now the thing is, there are two things that we have to take care about Flask while working with Flask. There are basically two folders. That is, one is the templates folder, and another is a static folder. Okay, so what is the templates folder and what is the static folder? So this, whenever I run this function, hello world, okay, whenever I'm running this function, this is the static string that I am serving when this URL is hit. Okay, but I want to serve HTML pages. Right, I want to serve HTML pages with all the dynamic data, and for example, if there is some dynamic data, that also should get served. If there is some static data, that also should get served. If it is getting retrieving information from wherever, let's say database or what we are putting, that is okay, but at the end of the day, it has to be an HTML pages that needs to be served, right? So here, instead of returning a simple string, we will return a function that renders the HTML file that we want to see on the browser when we hit this URL. Okay, that is the idea. What happened? Now what happened when you go to this URL? You will see hello world. What we are asking them to do, you render some HTML page when I go to this URL. or the base URL, right? So there is one method that we use in Flask that is specifically for rendering the templates. Okay, now what is this template? I'll show you. So this is the method render template. This is provided by Flask. What it does is it will it will help you render your HTML file. Okay, now what is this template? Templates is, so when we talk about template means all the HTML files that you're working with are nothing but your templates. Okay, so here, this is the file that I want to work with. This is, therefore, this is the template that we're talking about. Okay, so if I want this file to run, I should put this file as an argument to the method render template. Okay, where are we? Here. So instead of this, what I want to do, I want to render a template. Okay, that is what we have imported from Flask. And what we have to template, what is the template that we have to render? Index.html. Okay, let's see what happens now. Yeah, so it is showing some error, right? What is the error it is showing? Just let me write this. Yeah, so it is saying Jinja 2 exceptions template not found. It is showing Jinja 2 exception template not found. Why it is showing there is some template, right? So what happens is when we are working with Flask, it will, as I mentioned, sometime before, there are two folders that we have to look for. That is, one is the templates folder and one is the static folder. The templates folder, by the name suggests that, should contain all the templates that you're using for your application. Okay, and the static folder will contain other files. Okay, what are the other files? We'll get to that later. Okay, so just let me create a folder here. Okay, so it's templates. All right, now what this templates folder should contain? It should contain all the template or the HTML files that we want our application to use. Okay, so I'll just put this template there. Now what will Flask do? Whenever I run this function, I mean, whenever I go to this URL and this function is run, it will look for index.html, not in the root directory, but in the templates folder. Okay, initially there was no templates folder. That is the reason it was saying no template found. So, although there was index.html, but that index.html should lie within a folder that is named as templates, and then from there only it will take. Okay, so that is what was missing. Let's see if I guess, all right, we have to rerun it. Correct. So now if you see, when we put this index.html in the templates folder, what it did, it took that index.html, I mean, retrieved that index.html from the templates folder and then served it as an HTML file. Okay, so I guess over here, if I reload this, yeah, so we got the static content, right? All the static content that was there, we got as a part of templates folder. Okay, any questions on chat? Yeah, so we'll talk about debug mode. What is that and things, right? Why we are setting it, why we are setting a debug mode and everything. Okay, so if you see that with this, we are rendering a static HTML page. Okay, now there is something called as debug mode. So if I go back to where my application was running, it says debug mode off. Okay, with the debug mode off, what debug means, it will show you if there are any issues with your application. I mean, your server or whatever it is, whatever is there, issue with the application, it will show you there itself on the screen. Okay, why is this important? This is important to figure out exactly what is wrong with your code. Okay, now this debug mode is important when you are in the development mode. Okay, so here if you see, this is a development server, right? So what are we talking about? We are talking about the development server. Why? Because we are creating this application. We are at the development stage of this application. So it is important to know where my application is crashing, what are all it is not able to do, and things like that, right? So in that case, what we will do, we'll keep the debug mode on. Okay, keeping the debug mode on will give all the error that we were getting. For example, here, see, whatever is given in the red line here, this will be visible on the screen itself, right? This will give the developer an idea, okay, what went wrong. But when we're talking about production mode, now what does production mode refers to? It refers to where you're hosting your application and it is being used by the users. Okay, in that case, you wouldn't want your user to see what is wrong with your application. Okay, it should simply give you, give the user some information. Okay, something went wrong. Okay, very common that you see is 404 page not found. Okay, or internal server error 500, right? Those things are common when your server crashes or you're not able to gather resource. That does not give any idea about what is happening actually in the application, which is important when your application is being hosted and being used by other users, right? So that is the use. So when we set the debug mode to true, it will tell you what is happening, what is wrong with your application. When you set it to false, currently it is not set anywhere, so this means it is by default false. Okay, so if, for example, let me make a intentional error here. For example, if I index 2, okay, if I'm trying to search index 2 and reload this, let me stop and read. Yeah, so it is showing me internal server error. Okay, why is it showing me internal server error? Because since I know index2.html is not there, my application should crash, right? So it is actually giving me the error that it is not a template not found error of Jinja, right? Now you might think about where in Jinja comes here, right? Because we're using Flask. So we'll get back to that. We'll go to that later. Okay, so currently it is showing some exception that it is not able to find the index2.html, and that is the reason it got crashed. And that is the reason we are getting internal server error. Why are we getting internal server error? Because this is very vague. Okay, you looking at this, you don't understand what exactly went wrong. Okay, so why? Because the debug was false. Now if I set debug to true, okay, let's see. Okay, again, since it crashed, I need to stop and read. Yeah, so here same thing, right? Same error. The error was not sorted, but here whatever I'm getting on the front end is more intuitive, because it gives me the idea that okay, something with it has to do with the template. Okay, that is index2.html is not found, whatever I was getting here. But in most cases, user will not have that. User will have only this. Okay, so it becomes very intuitive that okay, this helps you to target what exactly and where exactly went wrong. If I go behind, see here, right? So it exactly shows me my code and says that okay, this is the problem where you're getting the this is the place where you're getting the exact issue, right? So this is the ability or what we can do with when we set a debug to true. Okay, so whatever is the issue, we can see right there in the front end. Okay, and this is useful when our application is in in the or in the development mode, in the development stage, because we are still developing the application, right? So I hope you understand why we are using debug mode. Okay, so yeah, so this is about the debug mode and how we are running the application. Okay, so I'll get back to yeah. Go ahead.
Basically, the index.html, it is something we have saved, right? Previously, in the text is as a text file or as a photograph, right? That is showing when you returning that, right?
Yeah, it is saved in the templates folder, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. So whatever is there in the templates folder, if it is, if I want to render a file, it has to be there in the templates folder. Okay, I mean, this is the predefined folder of Flask. You can have your own folder. Okay, you can have your own folder. For example, you don't like the word templates, you want to say, let's say it is views, because these HTML files are also called as views, because this is what you see on the front end, right? So if you want to name these name this folder as views, you can do that. Okay, the way to do that is just set it here. I mean, here you will have to explicitly define your template folder. Template.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so if you see
Sir,
here,
I just had one query.
template folder, right? Yeah, go ahead. So I won't do this because I don't want to make changes. Okay,
The return template always has to be a HTML file only. Can it be another Python file?
okay. See, the thing is, what do you generally want to see on the front end, on the web page,
Okay. So okay, got it.
right? So mostly it will be HTML, index.html. You would want it should be index.html.
So now, like for example, in our week 4 or week 3, there are many pages which are there. So all of them have to be in HTML format only.
Yeah, whatever you want. See, whatever you want the users to see on the web page should be index.html.
Okay.
See, initially we rendered a string, so that is okay. Rendering is okay, but ultimately it should be an HTML. Okay, this page makes your, I mean, this makes your application a proper application.
Okay.
Rendering, it can render anything, but generally what we render index.html, not index.html, HTML file.
Okay.
Okay, so this is, I mean, don't you see this in context of a web site. What you generally see on the website or web page is index, I mean HTML files. So you would mostly want to serve HTML files.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so now we are done with importing Flask, rendering the template. So this is how static templates are rendered. Now see, if I said that when I put this as this as the / as the string, it refers to the base URL, right? This. Okay, this is what it refers to. Now if I want this to be more intuitive, okay, because / does not make any sense. I mean, it can be anything, but since here let me re-render it. Yeah, since here we're talking about programming courses, it would be better if I have a URL that is more intuitive, saying that okay, you go to this courses, right? So if I hit something like let me go to this page. Let's say here, if I have something like this, it would have made more sense, right? Because it is a course and it is mad, right? So this is so what we are trying to say, I want this information when I go to this URL, right? For that, you have to make this as a part of your route where you want to map this page with, right? So that is what we are going to do. So what I'll do here, I can write course / mad1. So what I've done, I've mapped this index.html, I mean this function defined hello, this function I've mapped with not the base URL, but with the course mad1, this URL. Okay, so next time when I run the application and hit this URL, I'll get information about mad, which is more intuitive, right? You're looking for a subject that is mad1, and then you're getting information on mad, right? So we'll see that. Now it is saying not found. Why? Because initially my app, this function rendering the index.html, it was mapped to base URL. Now this function is mapped to course / mad1, and base URL has nothing, right? There is nothing mapped to base URL. That is the reason. And if you see here, as I said before, for REPL, this will be the base URL. Sorry, this will be the base URL, right? So at base URL, it is not mapped with anything. Therefore, it is not finding anything, right? It is not getting any resource to serve for this URL. Therefore, it is saying not found. Okay, how to get to our page? We will simply, I'll go to this part and write now. Okay, yeah, let's see here also. So this is the base URL, right? So if I reload this, it will say not found, right? And now what I'll do, I'll go to that page which I have mapped. I mean that URL which I have mapped my actual content with. Okay, so if I hit enter, probably I'll get the yeah, so I'll get the information. This makes URL more intuitive, right? So that is what we have been doing with app. So what how is it possible? With the help of this decorator. This is mapping, sorry, this is mapping my function and what it should do with a more intuitive URL, right? Initially, just for understanding, we mapped it with base. Now since we are getting, okay, this is what I want to see, I'll map it with more meaningful URL. Okay, now this is about URL.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I didn't get the point, sir. Please repeat it. The last
Okay,
point.
see. Okay, see, the idea is, let's say you are unknown to this application. Okay, you don't know what initially we had this, right? So initially we had this, and you are new to this application, and now if you don't have this code, okay, you don't have this code, and then you run, I mean, you run, the code is running, I mean, it is already being served by the server, and this page is being given, right? Now you are here, okay, you are here. Currently, you don't have anything here on the front page, and if I say, okay, what will come if I hit this URL? Okay, if I ask you what will come if I hit this URL, you wouldn't know what will come because you don't know what was the code or what exactly that URL or the base URL was mapped with.
Yes, sir.
Right. So that does not make that does not make the URL intuitive. Okay, if I hit this, I'll get information on programming courses. Okay, fine. But you will understand that, okay, it gives information on programming courses only after hitting it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, if you want to, let's say there are multiple courses. Okay, there are multiple courses and you want to be sure with, I mean, you want to be clear with, okay, if I put this URL, it should give me this information. Okay,
Yes.
so this is called as mapping of URL, okay, with the content. So what I'm doing, since this is a course which is MAD1, what I'll do, I'll give a more intuitive URL so that whenever the user of this application or this website hits that URL, he'll know, okay, even if the information is not there, he'll know that, okay, this will show some information or maybe something related to a course that is MAD1, right?
Yes.
That's what I've done. So what I've done here, since now in this code, I am the developer, I want my user to know that if you want some information on MAD1, you should go to this URL. Or if you go to this URL, even if you don't know what is the content, you will have some idea, okay, it is showing something related to MAD1.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what I've done is simply given another URL. I've just changed the base URL to some other URL, but the other URL is making more sense with respect to the content that I'm providing.
Yes, sir, but it is giving not found.
Which one?
Now this URL giving is not found, sir. I'm getting the web page as not found.
Okay, that's what. Just give me a minute. Right. So here, if I map this and run this, yeah, this is what you're saying, not found.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. So whatever happens, initially your application will go to base URL only. Whenever you run this application, it will start with the base URL. Okay. What have I done here? You go to base URL. Along with the base URL, you add these two parts as a part of URL. I mean, this is called as path. Okay. So this is the path you are giving additional to the base URL. So what does this actually mean? This means this. Okay, this is what it means. So if you don't have this, sorry, it's not selecting. So if you don't have this, you had only this, will it show anything?
Only course.mat, sir.
No. I mean, you have only this much. This
Yes,
much.
sir, then no, sir.
It will not show anything, right? So that is what you're getting.
Yes.
Okay, so you are currently at the base URL. That is the reason you are not getting anything, because base URL is not mapped with anything. Okay, it will be more clear if we map two things, one with base and one with not base. Okay, we'll go to that. Okay, so let's say after this, I rerun my program and then I go to this part. Okay, this is the base URL. If I reload this, what it should give me? Base URL.
It gives not found only.
Yeah, it should give not found. Why? Because nothing is mapped. Okay. Just let me do that once again. Yeah. Yeah. So currently it shows not found. Why? Because nothing was mapped with the base URL. My content was mapped with this. Right now, after hitting it, I will get the content. I know, you know why? Because we know the code. But if some new user comes and you, after looking at the URL, you'll understand. Okay, we are talking about some course which gives and that course is MAD one. What is coming is something related to a course that is MAD. Okay, now if I hit enter, I should get the information. Right. So this is mapping your content with some meaningful URL.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay. Yes. There is a background noise from my end only. Just give me a minute. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so I guess so this is some thing coming outside, so I don't have control of that. Okay, if it is disturbing, I'll repeat the content. Okay? But there's no point wasting time in it. Okay. All right. So I hope this part is clear. Okay, so we are clear with now mapping. So what I'll do now? I'll just simply repeat this part. Okay, and here I'll write the same thing.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm there. Tell me.
Yes, sir. Just can you briefly repeat the function of this host 0.00?
Yeah, so initially what have happened was we were running our server. So if I didn't give this initially, let me go to that part. Okay, so initially when the very first time I ran the server, it was running on this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what was the issue? This is my local host IP address. Okay, this is called as localhost, or this is the localhost IP address 127.0.1. Okay, now we're working on Replit, right? So when you're working on Replit is not on our machine. It is a web application, right? We are using some other platform to write our code, right? So
Yes.
if I run my application using the localhost, the Replit will not understand from where the exact data is coming. Okay, so not giving the host will not make any sense here. What this 0.0.0. does is it is a special IP address. We call it a special IP address. The reason being, it does not, then you don't have to worry about what IP address your system is working on. Okay, giving this, the Replit will understand, okay, there is some system that have to take IP address, and I guess this is the IP address of the application. I mean, the from where we are getting the data. So sorry, right? So the Replit is taking this IP address and then serving. Okay, so you don't have to worry about whether the Replit is able to take the IP address of your system or not. This 0.0.0. does that for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, now so see what I've done is I've given two things. One is the base URL, right? One function assigned to base URL, and the other function assigned to not assigned to base URL. Okay, now the thing is, let me see what happens when we run this. So if you see, it is showing some error. It is saying assertion error. View function mapping is overwriting. Just give me a minute. View function mapping is overwriting. Okay, overwriting the endpoint function hello. What is happening here? I've given, I mean, I've mapped this hello function with the base URL. Okay, and what I'm trying to do here, I'm mapping this hello function with another URL also, same function. So that is not possible. I mean, the Flask will not allow mapping two different, I mean, same function to two different URLs. Okay, I mean, this way it will not be allowed. I mean, there are two different URLs and you are mapping same function, same functionality. Functionality is okay, but the same function name cannot be there. Okay, so therefore it is showing the error. So what I need to do is I need to change this, change the name. You can simply put hello one. Functionality can remain same. Okay, the name should not match. Okay, so if I rerun this, yeah, so if you see, it is now you are seeing I mean the page getting rendered for the base URL also, and it will render same page for the other URL also. Why? Because we are returning the same thing. Okay, just to see the difference, what I'll do, I'll also change this, and I'll put simple some text. Okay, and one more thing to observe, when I put debug equals to true, I did not have to restart my server. See, the server got restarted by itself. Any change that I do, unless my server is crashed. Okay, so if my server is not crashed and if I'm doing changes, my server will restart and fix the make the changes. I mean, incorporate those changes with my application. Okay, so that is also served by you putting debug to true. Okay, so now what will happen? Now if I reload this, I'll get hello world for this URL. Okay, and then let us go here. Yeah, so I'm getting hello world for this URL, and the other one is if I go to that, I'll get the static page, right? So this is how you put, I mean, you map different functionality to different URL. Okay. Okay, so now now that we are able to now I guess we have covered basics of what we need for this session. Yeah, there is one more thing that we need to talk about, the second folder, and the second folder is static. Let me create that also. Let me see where it got created. It got created within templates. Yeah, so this is the static folder. Now what does static folder contain? It will contain all the other files except the template, right? So all the other files, meaning the style.css, I mean all the CSS file, all the bootstrap file if you're having any, okay, downloaded. It will have the JavaScript file. The script is not changing. Although it makes changes to the application, it does, the script itself by itself doesn't change, right? So it will have, the static folder will have all those files. Let me put this style.css and static. Okay. All right, now what happens is, now if I go to index.html, yeah, so if I yeah, so in index.html, initially my index.html, style.css, everything were there in the root directory, so I did not have to worry about what folder they had, they were in, right? Now but now what happened, this style.css is not on the root, but it is in static. So to incorporate my style within this HTML file, I'll simply add the static, give the proper path, static dot style dot css. I mean static slash style dot css, because it is a part of static now. Okay, now if I run this, yeah, so we'll go back to, let us reload this. Right. Okay, wait. Static templates, yeah, style.css, right? Next.html, ref. Okay, style is not being incorporated. Let me see what happened. What is happening? Okay, there's another way to deal with that. We'll go back to that later. Okay, we are not worried about style for now, but there is another way to deal with that using another something called as URL for. So we'll go to that later. Okay, now currently we are done with the basic, okay, of Flask. Now we'll deal with the form, the data that we would need to take from the form, right? So we'll quickly create another file, and this file we need to create in this, right? It should be a part of templates.html, right? So I'll just create form.html. This form.html should be within templates, right? Yeah, I hope you know this part. Yeah, we don't need all these things, we'll remove. I'll simply say add course, because this is what we were trying to do, right? So in the body will so there is HTML has this attribute called form, element called form, right? Yeah, so this form can have multiple elements which will represent to each of the fields, right? So what depends on what we want, right? So if we go back to our question statement and see what we wanted as the fields, that is name of the course, course code, details of course, relevant image, additional information. So we'll start with name of the course, right? So there is one way, let me write, that is name of course. Okay, name of course, and then we will have, since we are taking in input, we will write input. Okay, input, and it is of type okay, input of type text. Yeah, then we will end this. Okay, so yeah, and then we will, now this file, this HTML form needs to be served, right? So now we'll go to main, and instead of serving this simple hello world, we will serve that form.html. Okay, so we'll take this. How do we serve the form? I mean any HTML file, by using render template method. Yeah, form.html. Yeah, right. So now if I run this, reload this, yeah, so I'm having a form, all right, which is name of the course. Okay, now this is one way of writing it. I can simply put whatever the name of the course is, right? This is one of the fields that I wanted. Okay, now the thing is, you generally may have observed in while filling some other forms on other websites, you generally may have observed that if you click on the field, I mean the name, what that field is representing, okay, if you click on that, the bar by itself gets highlighted. I mean, wherever you're putting the field, text field, wherever you want to put the data, it will get highlighted by itself, right? Currently, it is not happening. See, if I'm clicking on name of course, it should, like this should happen. I mean, it should direct me to that with the cursor to that field, right? Currently, it is not happening because in my form, I have not said that this input text, this simple file. Okay, just let me move this a bit here. I want this to come on same. Okay, so this input, I've just written, this is hard coded HTML. Okay, simply written some part of text, and this then I've put input, right? HTML doesn't cannot map this with this name of the course content, right? This whatever I'm writing text field here and whatever I'm putting in as a part of input, HTML by itself will not map them both. Okay, for that we need to use another element which will map this element with the field. Okay. All right. So for that we will use that element which is called as label. Now with the term label, it is intuitive that okay, it can refer to labeling a particular text field. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. So what we'll do, I'll just use this tag called label. Okay, label. Now when I talk about label, I need to specify that okay, what text field I am referring to. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go back to normal HTML that we have learned. I'll just assign an ID. Okay, and set it as name. Okay. ID can be anything, right? It has to be unit, but it can be anything. You can put anything you want, right? But okay, I'll just say name of C. Okay, so it stands for name of course. Okay, this is one of the attributes that we are putting. Now, if I want to target this part, I mean this input text field for this label, what I'll do, there is one attribute for label called as for. Okay, so that for will refer to this ID. Okay, so that I'll use here, name of C. What it will do, it will make this label for this ID. Now, what is this ID referring to? This input text. So it will make this label for this input. Okay, and whatever I've written here can be written as a content part of this label. Okay, did you get what I did here? So I just created an input tag, which is this. Initially I hard coded a name that is name of course, but it was not mapping. I mean, this text should map with the name with the course, name of course text, right? So what I did, I created a label for that. Now label has an attribute for, which is same as the ID with which we want to label. I mean ID of the element that you want to label. Okay, now if I reload this, yeah, it will work. Nothing will happen, but I think if I'm clicking on course, now if you see here, now if I'm clicking on name of course, it is redirecting me to that field, right? So now I can say that this name of course and this field is mapped. Okay. Okay, then there is one more attribute that we will put here. There is name. And then in name, I will write name of C. It doesn't matter. You can have same name also, but in name, I'm writing name of C. What does it mean? Name of course. Okay, now why are we using this name attribute? This will help us to get data from the form. Okay, not used here. We'll just have to create it here. Okay, let me just expand it more so that everything comes in one line. Okay. Yeah. Right. So this is one of the fields that you wanted to create. What are the other fields? Name of the course, course code, details of course, relevant image. So I'll simply copy paste this part. For 3-4 I'll make so that don't have any issue. Okay, so the other label will be course code, right? So in for I'll simply write code. Now, since I've written code here, I'll have to name it as it is in the ID. Okay. Name can be anything. Simply I'm putting code. Okay. Then there are other things like relevant image and additional information. Okay. Back to form. And there is, I guess, the details of the course, right? Yeah, details of course. Now with details of course, you can imagine that details will not come in this small block of text, right? It has to have something that will be that is larger enough so that you can put in all the details, right? For that, we will not go with the input. We will go with another element called as text area, right? So why do we need text area? Because we need to put in the form something that is more of length. I mean, larger in value as far as the number of letters are concerned, right? So after the name, yeah, so this name of course I'll change to code of course, right? Next is that the thing that I'm talking about, right? The details. So instead of input, we will use text area. Text area. So if it is text area, we'll end it with text area. Okay, same thing, only that it will change now. All right, we'll see that also. Label for, we'll change this label, we'll write details. Okay, and in the same ID also we'll write details. Only one thing that we need to make sure here, that the ID and whatever is the value of for should remain same. Okay, and then type is, type we don't need to mention because since it is text area, we know that it is text. Okay, here we'll write details of course, and in the name details. Now there is image, right? So for image, what we'll do is in the form we'll provide image link so that it retrieves the image from that link, right? So what I'll do is I'll simply, this can be anything. What it shows should change. Okay, what are we seeing on the screen is what we want the user to understand and put. So what we want is image link. Okay, so we'll put image link so that he knows that okay, we have to put image link here. This can be text because it won't be that long. Okay, and here image. Okay, and there can be one more field. There can be one more field for additional info, right? So I'll just write info here, and in ID also info, name also info. Doesn't matter, it can match, it cannot match, no issues. Additional information. Okay, so I've had 3 4 5 fields. Let's see. Yeah, one more thing, if you are I mean, if you're making changes in the form, you need not restart the server every time because this is just a change in template, right? Now the thing is, everything is mapped. If I click on code of course, it will go to this, details of course, it will go to this, image link, additional information. One problem, they are not properly aligned. So what I'll do is after every label and input, I'll just add a BR tag so that they get a line break and they come in the next line. Okay, BR is a self-closing tag, you just need once. Okay, so after this input, then after this input, then after text area, then after label, and we won't need for last. Yeah, so now they are arranged. If you see this details of course, you see that it is not like the other ones, it is a text area. And if you see here, we don't need, if you see here, it can be expanded because it depends on what content you're putting. Doesn't look nice because I want this text area to appear right below. So I'll just add one BR tag here also. Okay. Yeah, now looks better. So here, this is a form that takes information about the code, all the information that we need for the code, right? And then just I'll add a small heading to the code, right? Body h2, let's say h2. Add a new course, right? Yeah. So we are ready with the form now. Any issues here? Whatever I've done with the label and stuff, any issues here? Yeah, so we have this form here. Now we can simply put the values here and let's see what happens. Okay, now we have created the form, but there is nothing happening to the data that we put in. I mean, how do we handle this data that you're putting in form at the front end? How does the server handle? I mean, how does the backend know what is the data, what it belongs to, and how to take it, right? So for that, we need to make some links. Links as in not the URL links, some linkage between the form data and our server, right? So we'll do that here. So what happens is there is something called as HTTP methods. Okay, now HTTP methods, what they do is they perform certain tasks based on what kind of request I have sent. Okay, for example, let's say you may have heard about HTTP GET request and HTTP POST request, right? What they do, how they function, we'll see. But currently we should know, okay, if I use GET, something should happen. I mean, a request can be sent to a URL with a particular method, and the URL should respond with should respond with respect to whatever method we have asked. Okay, for example, here I have not mentioned method, but here I have said, okay, whenever I hit this URL, base URL, you return the form.html. Okay, this is simple, hitting a URL and getting the response. Okay, so even if I don't mention the method, I can say that, okay, I'm simply getting the information. This means my application must be using GET request for this particular thing. Okay, okay, and even if you don't know, that doesn't matter, we can mention. Okay, by default, every Flask request made to every URL on Flask will be made using GET request. Okay, that can be defined and that can be changed also. Okay, currently if I just want to make those changes visible, I mean make those methods available to me because I want to do multiple functionalities, okay, then I need to explicitly mention what method I want to use for what. Okay, now I'll just type and show whatever I said. Okay, so let me mention the methods. These are called as HTTP methods or HTTP verbs. Okay, what are the methods that we are intending to use? Get and post. Okay, so there is one method called get and there is a method called post. Initially, when we did not mention anything, it was by default using get. So if there is no method mentioned, you have to assume that the method by default getting used was get. Okay, can we see somewhere that what method it is using? Yes, definitely. So if we see to this part, okay, what did it retrieve? It retrieved whenever I hit the base URL, it will retrieve an HTML which will have form. Correct. So I'll just go to inspect and go to network and just rerun this. Yeah. So see, this is the base URL, right? This is the base URL. If I click on this, just let me expand this. it is possible. Okay. Yeah. So I went to this URL. This is the base URL. And if you see the request method, it says get. Right. So whenever I hit the base URL with request method get, I should get a form. This is what we meant with that code. Okay, this is what we meant with this piece of code, this smaller piece of code. Not the whole one. This only this much, right? So whenever you are saying that if you hit this URL and have not mentioned any method, currently you forget about this methods. Initially it was working without methods, right? So if I'm saying that okay, you render form.html, that should happen when the method is get. Okay. Now I want the same URL to perform differently.
I just have one question, which is for each and every function which we write, before that we have to mention that @app.root.
Yes, that is mapping that function with the URL.
Okay, so like for example, if there are 10 different functions, I have to write like just before def, I have to also mention that @app and give the URL.
Yes, you have to.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so yeah, so we were at method, right? So initially it was doing method, it was doing all the requests to the server with the help of get. Okay, so what happens, what is defined here? It says whenever you get a request on this home URL, you serve this file, because by default the request that you will be getting is by get. Okay, now if you get the same request from same from on the same URL, but if the method is changed to post, you do something else, right? So with the method you can make one route and one function to do multiple things. Okay, that is useful. Why? Because let's say I want some information to come on my screen, and then same screen should take information to the server. In that case, I'm having same URL, same screen, same template, but different functionality, right? So in that case, it becomes handy to use methods, right? So till now, whatever we did was using get method. As you saw here also, that the method that we were using, request method, was get. Okay. Can I do the same thing with using post? Definitely. I have to mention that my method will be post. Okay, and then make the request with the method post itself. All right. By default it will not happen. Okay, by default it will be get. Even if you go to any URL and hit request for any URL, the first method, by default method, it will go with the get. Okay, to specifically send a request with a particular method, you have to specify the method also. Okay, how to do that we'll see later, because we will probably use other UI also and command line also for that. We'll show that later. Okay, so currently I'm having this method get and post. Okay, now see what happens. I'm now this post will come in handy. How? See, I have this page. Now let me close this. Yeah, I have this page. I got this page from the server when I hit this base URL. Okay. Now, if I what if I put all the data here and I want this data to go back to server? In that case, the link will not change, the page will not change, everything remains same, right? But the request made to the server is different, and what we want the server to do is different. In that case, we have to specify that okay, use another method. And conventionally, to send all the data that we want to the server, whatever data we are sending to the server, we do it with the help of post. As the name suggests, we are posting some data to the server. Okay, get, we are retrieving some data from the server, right? Do you have to always go with their name? No, not necessary. This is their usual meaning. This is their usual interpretation. Okay, generally with the get you retrieve some resource from the server. Generally with the post you send some data to the server. So that is what we will be following. But can we do it otherwise? Definitely. How to do it we'll show later. Okay, so now what I want is, I want this form to come with the get, and then once this data is filled, I want this data to be retrieved at the server. Okay, so there is one button I did not add, right? Once the form, all the data are filled, I need to submit, right? So here I'll in the form.html, I'll have to add one more field. It is again input only. Input. Type it will be submit. Okay, and so if I just let me finish this. Yeah, so I have a submit form here. Let me have a BR submit button. Sorry. So I have a submit button here, right? So it is input, but type is submit. Otherwise, the type was text. That's why we were having this field. Here the type is submit. See, here it is saying submit, right? What if I wanted to change the value of this submit? I mean, I want another text to come in place of submit. In that case, I can simply use this attribute called as value. Okay, and simply write add course. This will make sense because we are adding a course. So if I reload this, it should say, instead of submit, it will say add course. Okay, so what will happen when you hit submit? Okay, when you hit submit, this form, I mean, we will be making request to the same URL using some other method, not get. Okay, now what to do when the other method is come? I mean, what to be done by the server when you are making the request to a URL with any method other than get? That we have to define here. Okay, that we will see how to define. And since I said we will be using post to send data, the method that we'll be using in form will be post. Okay, so what I can do is in form, I'll have to specify what method I'm using, right? So wherever I started form, yeah, form method post, not post, post. Okay, so it is form method post, right? What will happen whenever I hit add course? Okay, so this is the significance of submit button. What it does is whenever I hit this submit button, it will hit a URL that also I have to mention here with a particular method. Okay, and that, so method is defined that I will be using post method. Now how to go to a particular URL, that I will do with this. So we have to use action. Okay, action. So what it says, why when you hit submit, what action needs to be taken? In generally action, we put the base URL. Okay, why base URL? Because in Python, I mean in the server, we were doing the same thing, right? We were hitting the base URL with get method. Now this form will make sure you hit the base URL with post method, right? So this is the importance, right? So in form, whenever we create form, we have to mention two things. One is action and the other is method. Okay, I'll just keep the code same. Okay, it doesn't matter with the cases here, right? Post can be small also. All right, so this will happen whenever I hit submit. Okay, now this is the form data. Let us add something and see. Name of the course, let's say AppDev1, course code CS2003. Details of the course, currently we'll leave it blank. Image link, again we'll leave it blank. Additional information. If I, yeah, so what happened? I added a course. I mean, I click on add course. All the data was there, went to the server. Now we do not have any, currently we do not have anything to handle that data. We don't know how to handle that data. Let's see if we can get this data here. So let's see some add, let's add some data. AppDev1. Yeah. So now if you see, let me remove this. Yeah. Now if you see, request method is post. Why? Same URL, but initially request method was get because that was the default. Now when I used the form, when I clicked on the submit button, what happened? It hit the same URL, but with the method post. Okay. So that's why it says method post. Okay. And now if we go to, yeah, if we go to payload tab, we will see what was entered as a data, right? In the payload, we'll see what was entered as data. One thing to note here, see on the right hand side, you see what was entered. On the left hand side, what do you see? The name of C, code, details, image info. How are these values getting? I mean, how does the application or this whatever you're seeing here, or this navigator, how does it know that you have given code as this, details you have given as hyphen, images hyphen, info hyphen? What are these values? These are actually the name that we have assigned. Okay, so if I go to form.html, you see this name, right? This is what it is, right? So in the payload, what I will get a dictionary with the left hand side, I mean the left part, the key of that dictionary would be the name, whatever I've given, and the value would be the value whatever I've given in the text field, right? Is this clear? Hello.
Yes, sir, it's clear. And
Right. So
while
yeah.
we here, if you could also help, maybe when you look at the dictionary key, right? How do you, correctly access if some user does not enter data?
Yeah. Okay, we'll see that. Yeah. So this is we will handle that in the backend, right? So currently, my application at the front end knows, okay, this was the data added, appdev1 cs2003. So you see here, the name of course is actually the name that I've assigned to that particular input tag, and appdev1 is the actual value that I've given through the field. Okay. So now I want to access this data. I want to process this data at the backend, right? So that is what I'm going to do. Yeah. So we were at main.py. Yeah. So we know that what happens when the method is get, but now we will now we will see what happens with the method is post. Okay. So there's one thing that we need to import from Flask, that is a request. Okay. What does request do? It says that I mean, it gives you the idea of your the request you are making with what method, right? So there are other I mean, there are other objects of request, but one thing that we will particularly use is request dot method to understand what method we are using. Okay. So here now initially it was directly rendering the template form.html, right? That is okay. So what this actually means is, if request dot method equals to get, if the request dot method is get, you return render template form.html, which was happening initially, right? So you don't need to explicitly mention if the request is get. Why? Because by default the request will be get. Okay, this and what was written before is exactly the same. Okay, process died unexpectedly, don't have to worry, because the server made changes and the changes we made were not correct. Okay, but initially see this method, but now we have method. Okay, so you don't have to worry about what is happening here. Okay, so initially what was written, if this line was not written, right, line number 8, if that is not present, it will by default take it as get. Okay, so you don't need to mention. If you want to mention it this way. You have request dot method equals to get, do this. Okay, if, but specifically what do I want to deal with? I want to deal with the post method, right? So I'll write request dot method equals to post. Now if this is the case, what to do? Okay, what will happen if request dot method is post? What will happen? I will have some data at the payload, right? Some data at the payload. Okay, that data I need to retrieve. Okay, that I will do now. So initially what was I'll retrieve the data and keep assigning it to a variable, right? So I'll keep the variable name same so that we don't have any confusion. So I'll just create this variable name of course, that is name of C. Okay, and then how to access it? It should be done like this: request dot method dot get. This is one way. Okay, request dot method dot get. Now what do you need to get? You need to provide the name what you have added. Okay, what was the name? I guess name of C, same. Okay, how to see what was added as a name? You can see from here, payload, name of C in small, right? So we have to go with small. Okay, just to make sure, we'll go to form.html and see the name. It is small n. Okay, so we will go back to our main.py and write it as name of C. Okay, name of C equals to, yeah, so request.method.get. This is one way. Okay, this is one way. Other way would be, I'll just write below. What is code, right? I'll name it as code. Hey, sorry, request.method. We don't need method here. So request.get. And how are we getting it from? From form. So it is request.form.get. Okay, it is request.form.get. Similarly, how are we getting code? We are getting it from request dot form dot get. And I mean, how to what actually do we have to write? The name, right? So what was the name? We'll see it under payload. So it was code with small c. Okay,
This one is actually for getting the data to our server.
yeah, we are getting the data at the backend. Okay. So some data is provided from with the help of form. The user provided the data. Now how to do, what to do with that data? Okay. Right. So that like data has to be.
This, it was just in the front end. With this post method, we are actually also getting the data which is being input by the user.
Yes, yeah. So this post method is helping us to send the data from from client to the server. Then here we are defining. Firstly, here we are just getting the data, right? Then we will see what to do with that data.
Okay.
Right. We are assigning name of C. So whatever comes at as name of whatever comes as name of course will be assigned to this. Okay.
Variable. So now it is just like Python in
exactly. Now it is simple a Python variable we are assigned to some value. Right.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So what was the third thing? Details. Another way, which I said, there are two ways to say. So it will be request.form. Now request.form is a dictionary, right? So you can access it like a dictionary also. Okay. So here I'm not using get. I'm using just this dictionary. And what was the value actually? Details. So it refers to a key called details. Okay. This is how you get the data. I don't know why it is showing this, but okay, we'll see. Okay, so one way is to write request.form.get. Other way is to get request.form and access it like a value of dictionary.
So like in the name of C, what will be the data type of name of C?
String. So whatever you put in will be string.
And in details, it will be a dictionary.
No. Both, all of them will be. Okay. No. So what I'm saying is, see, there are two ways to get the data. Okay. I mean, syntactically, this is one way, request.form get using the get method. Another is to simply use this. Alternative to this would be this. This is just an alternative, right? Okay. So I'm just using code only, request.form, and instead of using this get method, I could have simply used this square brackets.
The data type for everything will be in string only.
String, yeah.
And if, for example, somebody enters a numerical value like age or something in a form,
that will also be string.
Okay, so that will also. So if we have,
it's like input of Python.
So like if we have to then work with that data which we are getting as a string, we can then have to convert it into an integer.
Correct. You have to typecast it.
Got it.
Yeah. So we got three values. name of the code details, and then additional image link and additional info. Okay. And just copy this.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, this get method, this is mainly used to get something, right? I mean, the basic motivation behind this naming is to get something, right?
Correct.
And so, I mean, in the HTML code, I think professor was mentioning that we can like instead of in the action field, instead of in the method field, instead of post, we can also write get.
Yeah.
So that will change the whole thing, no, sir?
No, see, that's what. So what I'm saying is, generally with the usual notation, we use get to retrieve data, post to send data. It is, I mean, for us to understand that, okay, get means retrieving some data and post means sending some data. But the code does not understand that way. It does not understand the usual meaning of words, right? Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it does not understand the usual meaning. So you can change these I mean, you can use these methods individually, although they have some predefined structure. For example, structure of the way a request is sent, structure the way the response is getting, right? So that is there. But you can send some data to the server with the help of get. You can retrieve some data from the server with the help of post. That is also possible. See what, see, why do we, at the first place you should think, why do we need these methods? What did I say, why we are talking about methods here? We are using same URI, I mean same URL, same template, right? But doing two different things, right? Initially when I use this URL, what I was doing, I was simply retrieving this form, okay, so that I can fill some data, correct? So that was one function that the server did. What it did, on being hit upon this URL, it sent me I mean it sent me this form.html, which got rendered by the browser, right? So that is one thing. So that is a resource being sent to the client. Okay, now keeping the same URL and the same template, I need to give this information back to the server. Okay, so what is happening here? My function remains same, my URL remains same, my template that is getting rendered remains same. How do I make the difference? I mean, how do I differentiate the functionality? That is where we brought in methods. So same URL, same template, method different, functionality different.
Understood.
Right. So you are exactly getting that, right? What are we trying to do here? We are see, if I was to use different URL to send the data, what will happen? I will not be able to send data through this page, which is not what I'm intending to. I should get this page and I should be able to send information on this page only using this URL only, right? So if both the things remain same, how do I differentiate the functionality? With the help of methods. Okay. Now that I know I need to use methods, should I give random names to the method, or should I give some intuitive names to the method? So this intuitive name, this get, okay, I will get the resource. Post, okay, I will be able to send the data. So these are intuitive names. If the method change, can you change the functionality? Yes. So why to assign one functionality only to one method? Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why if we can have different method, I can give whatever functionality I want. It can be as simple as getting a resource using post method. So you don't have to go with the literal meaning. Okay, can be done. Should we do it? That is a different question. Okay. So that is why we generally go with the usual meaning. Get, okay, get the information from the server. Post, okay, send information to the server.
And one another thing, sir, here in the methods, we are writing get and post inside a list. So is that checking whether the method that we are using belong to the list, belong to this
Yeah,
list?
it should.
Okay,
See,
okay.
if I remove this post and I use post, it will give me error.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right. So the methods that I'm using in my function should be defined in the list. This called this methods. Okay. Otherwise, it will show some other error which I'll show you. Okay. Now, okay. So we'll back to what we were working with. So I just got the information from the form, and I'll just see if we are getting the information correct.
In place of this get and post, text can be changed in the line number 6.
Line number 6.
Get is not a keyword, no?
No, get is not a keyword, but it is a predefined HTTP request method.
Okay, it is predefined. We cannot change it.
No, we cannot.
Get and post will be used. Okay.
Yeah, get, post, put, update, not update. Get, put, post, delete, patch, put. These are defined, predefined HTTP verbs. Okay.
Okay, the way it will be used in here this form only. Defined for the form only, or elsewhere it will be used.
See, form you can use get and post.
Syntax of get.
Get is in general anywhere used, right? You just have to retrieve source.
Okay.
Yeah. So even if you saw this here, right, we were initially not mentioning any method, but it was by default using get. So get is by default method. For others, we have to post. For others, we have to specify.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just, I'll just see if we are getting the correct result, right? Okay, let's run this again. Yeah, so I got the info, right? Just give me a minute. I'll submit from once again. I'm def 2. I'll keep the code same and leave others. So what will happen? It should show me your so your info is appdef 2, which means we are able to retrieve the information from the form, right? Because what I did, I simply got those values, and I simply let me remove this. Yeah, I simply returned it as in the form of string. So what will happen? See, if I click on this add course, it will hit the post method, go to same URL. Okay, now what this URL will do, it will say, okay, you are hitting this URL, no issues. We will see what method you're hitting with. Since it is a form, it will hit with post method. So post method, it will come to this. Okay. Then in post method, it will retrieve all these values because we are using this request.form. It will save it in, and then it will return this, right? So what happened? Same URL, same function, two different functionalities with the help of methods. So that is how we use get and post. So what happened? In get, we got an HTML form from server to the client. Now client put some information and sent it back to the server. That information got processed by the server and returned in the form of string. Right? This is what we have done. Okay, so the use of methods and all, is it understood?
Yes, I got it.
Correct.
Also be used.
Sorry?
Another line of the return. Can we use here also?
Another line of the return where?
This here in the line number 6, after line number 16.
Okay, line number 16.
Another data in the form can be retrieved from this if
See,
required?
no. The thing is, yeah, you can do it in multi-line string, but you should use one only return. Anyway, in function we use one only return, right? So once the return, this
Okay,
return executes.
Only one.
Yeah. So if this return executes, it will anyway not go to other return.
Okay.
Okay. What
Only
you
one
what
return.
you can do is just write this.
Okay. Yeah. What I said here, you can use other.
Yeah,
data also.
within you can use course
And
code is whatever, what was it, code simply it will show.
yeah, variables we can use that variable.
Yeah, all the variables are taken. Now we need to decide what
Now
we
it is a simple Python variable.
correct. Now it is a simple
Okay.
Python variable, right?
Okay.
Now
Okay.
this is one thing. We have created HTML file, we have taken data, we have processed the data. Now we need to make the use of this data. How to make the use of this data is to create a template, right, where we have to put this data. I mean, where we have to put this data and it should be rendered. So currently I'm just rendering a string, right? We want something meaningful to come up, something like that page, this index.html, something like this page should come up, right? This is what we'll do. So instead of this hard coded data, we'll remove this and we'll put that data using Jinja. Okay, that will be the next step. Yeah, somebody, sorry, I missed one thing. We are not storing data anywhere. We are not storing data anywhere. The data is with the server, and it will be in the form, with the server till the time we are putting it, we are putting and submitting it, and we will render. That's it. The data will be there until it renders. After that, data is not stored anywhere. Okay, data will be stored from next week, because that is where we will incorporate database. Okay, what is the difference between slash static image one and static image one? It is, both are same. I mean, same as in it depends on where you are using. Okay, so I mean it depends on the use case. Okay, so you might see where we are using it differently, and we'll be able to understand. Okay, because exactly I cannot tell you the difference right now orally, right? Okay, so I hope this part is clear. Only thing is, now we need to render this data to the index.html, and that is pretty easy, right? So we'll do that. Now we will render index.html. So currently here your info is app.dev2. This is what we are getting, right? Instead, we should get a page which will have the info that we put in. Okay, so yeah, so first we'll deal with the name of the course. So name of the course is here, right? This is the name of the course. Okay, so what I'll do is I will now for this information to get rendered using Jinja 2, I need to pass the information to the template. How do I do that? I'll go to the main.py, and instead of this, I'll just remove this now. It was just to check whether we are getting the data correctly. Yeah, please note that we are using two different ways of getting the data, right? Yeah, so now we'll do render template. Render template. What are we rendering? Finally, what should we see? We should see index.html. Okay, now index.html is okay, but we want that dynamic data to be filled in, right? So what we will do, we will pass this data to the index.html. Okay, there can be multiple ways. Meaning, let's say if I name of C, I can write like this also. I mean, I can individually pass the data. Name of C equals to name of C. Okay, what I've done here. So this name of C is this. Okay, you're assigning it to a variable. This variable is something which is a part of HTML. Okay, which you can use in your index. Okay, so instead of writing this modern application development one, I can use simple Jinja and add that variable name. How to give simple variable? Simple rendering of Jinja by using two curly brackets, right? I can write like this, name of C. What will this do? It will from here. Yeah, so this name of C will go from here. It will be assigned to this name of C, and this name of C is used in the HTML. If I wrote this as like this, course name, I will have to address that particular thing here as same, like whatever I'm assigning, right? Course name. Okay, this is one way. Now see, if it is okay if I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables, right? But it will not make sense if I have to add 100 variables
In the double curly brackets, sir, this is a Jinja variable.
Yeah.
At the time of rendering,
index.
it will be used in the render template.
Yeah, so it will render because see what is happening. I'm rendering this template, right? With the Python, I said render template index.html, and with the proper data that we are giving along with this render template function, right? So it will not only render the static content, but also put proper content at the I mean in the placeholders. For example, the this course name is the placeholder of appdev1 that we will be putting here, whatever is in the here, right? So if I put appdev1 in the, when this HTML gets rendered, instead of course name in H2, appdev1 will come up. Okay, so that is how Jinja works. Now we are using Jinja directly in HTML, right? No import. Why? Because it's not Python. In Python, we have to import and use. In HTML, we don't have to do any import statement. Jinja will automatically work. Okay, and by installing Flask and this render template, we are making sure that we are using Jinja. Okay, why? Because if you see the installed files, when we started the first ran the REPL, it installed Flask and various others dependencies. One of them was Jinja 2.
Sir, where it is visible whether Jinja is installed or not? Without going to the cell, is it some folder, hidden folder is there?
Wait. Let me see. Yeah, see the packages. Okay. You see 5 dependencies: workzip, Jinja 2, right? It's dangerous and click we are not using. There is also NumPy installed. Okay.
Dependencies means these packages have been installed in this folder. Is it so?
Yeah, whenever you install, I mean, when you install Flask, this will get installed along with it.
Okay. And this will work for the whole package or for that file only?
This will work for this REPL. No, this will work for this REPL
only. Okay, this REPL only.
That is the reason we don't need to create virtual environment in REPL.
Okay.
This individual REPL is by itself a virtual environment.
Okay, when that we is the reason, suppose we are copying this, downloading this code from this Replit, okay, and we are using somewhere, then this whole package should be there in that environment.
No, so I haven't checked that, but see, if you
downloading
this,
the file,
so if you download this file, if you download this file, entire file manager will get downloaded, and the zip will have a file with all the installed packages. You'll have to install that packages first.
Okay.
Right. So if I download this, download as zip, it will have not only the files but also the packages. I mean, as far as I know.
Okay. It will be in a folder.
Yeah, it will be there. When you once you unzip, I guess it will be there.
Okay. After that, you will do it.
So you will have only those packages that you used while working with these files, like that. All right. So we will go back to our templates and index.html. Yeah. So this is what we were working with. H2 was the course name. Then course code. We did not add that. We can add that. Okay. It was code, I guess, right? Course name and code. we will go back to this part and then give this. So what I'll do is I'll just make a dictionary for course. I mean, it doesn't have to be dictionary. It can be a list also. Or we can say data. That's it. Yeah. Okay, and then what I'll do is let's try this. Data equals to data. So I'm passing this list as the list itself completely to this index.html, and we'll try to access that inside index.html. So here it will not be course name now, it will be data. Yeah, data, and then since it is a dictionary, sorry, since it is a list, I can use the indexing. Let's see if this comes. So let's run it. Is there any error? No, right? Okay, so we will try to put in here. So I have dev 1 CS203. Yes, we don't need. Yeah, correct. So what is happening here? The same thing is coming, but now it is getting rendered, right? So I have dev 1 and CS2003. Other things we did not put, so did not come. So this Wikipedia is coming out, right? Okay, I think I deleted some of the part, right? So that is why it is coming out of the page. But because I deleted the links and online, I mean ordered list and stuff, right? So maybe I've changed the styling somewhere. But this is fine. What we wanted was it should come here, the course code, course name, and then similarly we'll add the other things. Okay, so this paragraph, instead of this whole paragraph, because we don't know now where the paragraphs will break and stuff. So inside this paragraph, we will add details. Okay, so it will be data 2. Yeah, details imagery. Yeah, data 2. Now what? Yeah, so in image, we generally in SRC we have to give the image which is there in the static folder, right? So this image should lie in static folder, right? So along with the JavaScript JS file, CSS file, we can also have all the images that are there, right? So I can download some images, but let us upload from there itself. Upload file. I have it in the desktop, I guess. Yeah, this is where. Okay, we'll also add DBMS as another course, so we'll add that folder also. File. Yeah, so both these images have to be in static folder. Okay, and what I'm doing here is what I'll write here is I'll write static and then slash. Okay, and then I'll give the Jinja templating. Okay, because in image link I just want to put the image, that is image 1.png and image 2.png. Let me remain so that we have. Yeah, image 1.png image. So in image link I just want to put image 1.png. That's it. Even if I don't want to put PNG, that is also fine. I can write PNG here, and here I can write image, that is data, and what it was, I guess 3, because data 2 was, yeah, image, yeah. And see, this image for application development, right? So for example, if I'm creating a course, for example, let's say system commands, and I do not have the image for system commands, it will alternatively say image for application development. This is not what I want, right? I want it should show image for system commands, right? So that also can be done. Simply we have to write this. Zero. Yeah,
now
so
it is dynamic. It is
yeah,
dynamically
it is dynamically generating everything. So it will create image for system command, whatever the course it was, if I did not have the image. Okay, source content source is wiki, that is fine.
more than one Jinja variable can be used in a same type.
One variable can be used many times.
Okay.
Many variable can be used at once, no issues. So we got the image source. Now we just have to add a link. Okay, so to add link, okay, the issue was I deleted the starting of a div tag. That is the reason that went outside. Okay, and then here I'll add a link. Link has an attribute called as href. So href will be again the link of whatever I'm giving, right? So here it has to be like this. Data. Okay, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's data 4, right? And this should, this should have a text as additional info. Yeah, so let's see how this works. We will reload this also.
Link is not required to write here. Type link.
Sorry?
In the link. What is the syntax of putting a link?
Yeah, so what we have to do, we have to just write a and then give it, what link we want it to go, right? So it is given as href. Okay, in href, you have to provide that link as a string. And then this is the thing that you want to appear on the screen, right? So if you click on additional info, it should go to this link, is what we mean by this time.
Okay. When we click additional information, then it will go to that.
Yeah. So additional information is something that you want to appear on the screen, and this is something that you want to go when you click on additional information. Okay, so if we go to now we'll write it better way. Application development 1 CS2003. This course deals with web application development. Image link is image 1. That's it. I will not write PNG anything. It is taken care of, but it is hard coded. So if I have a JPEG image, it will not work. Okay, so we can take care of that also. And some link, so we can provide any additional link. Let's say web.
What is the meaning of this hardcore means?
Hard coded means that PNG is there, right? So every time it will add PNG only. It will not look for other things. It will only add PNG because it is. I have written it in the code. What I have written, I'll show you. Just give me a minute. Copy file. Why? Okay, let's say we have simply a, okay. Okay, let's see what happens. Yeah, correct. So we do not have data to our, okay, we'll see what is that. So we got application development one, we got the code, we got the image, and additional information. Yeah, so it leans to simply learn. Okay, so this is working. What is data to? Okay, fine. So this data to,
It is redundant perhaps for this.
So the curly braces are missing maybe.
Yeah, correct. Yes. So we simply written data to, right? I want this to be a placeholder of Jinja.
Okay.
So, yeah, this goes in, yeah. So whatever I have written as a form is now getting rendered dynamically. So these pages are getting created dynamically, right?
Sir, hello, sir.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sir, is it a case that if like here you are just sending a simple list and the name is also simple like data, and if we use some complicated name like let's say select course data or something like that, this I mean this Flask or let's say Ginger have some problem while processing it?
No, that should not be the case. Unless it is a keyword or filter name of Jinja, right? Something like that.
Okay, sir.
Right. Otherwise, it will not be an issue.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, so I've used data. I could have taken individually all the values, right? Name of course, details of course. Correct. So I guess that should not matter. Yeah. And yeah, so initially it was not coming as design, but it is coming, right? So maybe it was some issue with the server. Okay. Yeah. So any issue here? I hope we are
only PNG will be used in this application,
correct, yeah.
or
So only
JPG cannot be used.
JPG cannot be used. The reason being, okay, I'll show you that also why we are saying like this.
Yeah.
See, because I've written .png, right? So what it will do?
Suppose we write here JPG, then it will work.
If I write here JPG, see what is actually it is doing is it is searching for static / data3. What is data3? I put image1. Okay.
Image1.
So in source, what it is searching for static / image1.png. Why? Because PNG. It will by itself it will add. Okay. If I write here .jpg, every time it will search for static / image1.jpg.
Then we have to put the image in the JPG format.
Yeah, that is the case.
Then,
but you don't have.
Then it will work.
Yeah, then it will work if I put here JPG. Okay. But to remove the confusion, we can simply remove it, and in imagely we can write image1.png. In that case, only we will have to take care of the extension.
Okay, got it.
Right. Now we will also check if this works, right? So we have written image for data 0, right? So we will create another page. Let's say, yeah. So we'll create another page. We'll go to that form again. So this will be, let's say, system commands. System commands, and I don't know the course codes. I'm just writing course. This deals with command line interfaces. We do not have image3. Okay, simply learn will leave as it is. Yeah. So what it does is it create everything and it shows image for system commands, right? This is what we wanted.
Okay.
Right.
If
here,
the image type is not matching, then it will go and show it. This.
Yeah. No. So here I have taken out that image type. What was not matching? Image3. There wasn't any image3. Right. So if now for appdev1, if I want to create the page, along with in this image link, I will have to not only put image one, but I'll also have to add the extension image1.png. In that case, it will work.
Okay, fine.
Because I don't want to, take whatever image name I put, it should not take extension as .png. So I removed it from here. That is hard coding.
Got it.
Okay, so this is what we intended to do in this session, right? So take the information from a form, manipulate it or work with it at the backend, okay, with two other methods, and finally get the page rendered with the appropriate data. So I hope, is there any issue till now?
So when we download this main.py, so in another name, suppose in the lab assignment it is given app.py or like that. Then how to download? The whole thing will be downloaded at one go, or individually we have to make a folder? In the lab assignment, only one file is required to be uploaded.
Yes.
Then this, suppose image file is there, style sheet is there, templates are there. Can we use this template and static files also in a separate folder? What we have done here?
No. I guess for this assignment you will have, you will need other folders.
Yeah, sir, I can
directly. We have to put it directly into that code.
Sir,
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So the instructions also clearly say, I asked it in the previous thing, then I realized that this week, the instructions also clearly say, select app.py, template directory and static directory and put them in the zip file.
Correct.
And I did that and that worked. So
that's
I finished it before the original due date also. So this time they have given option to give multiple directories in that zip file.
Yeah, that's what. So you see, here we have Flask, right? So it's not only about main.py, we will need other folders also. Right. So that's why we are allowing, from this assignment onwards, we are asking you to, zip multiple files together and send. Previously, it was not required. Till week 3, you were only required to do main.py because main.py was sufficient. We wanted you, your application, when run, it should create HTML. Right. So you don't need to provide a separate HTML or data along with your submission till week 3. In week 4, since Flask is added, you will have to zip this multiple and then submit. Also, while zipping, you have to take care that you select the files that you are zipping and zip. Okay, you don't add these files in a folder and zip that folder.
I'm not getting, sir.
Okay, fine.
How to zip it?
Correct. I'll show you. Wait. So, for example, we have this. Let's say I have this file. Okay.
Yeah.
Solve with Instructor. There is app.py and templates. Okay. This is not related to what we studied now, but this is some random files. Okay. So till now you had to zip only this, right? So what you did, send.
Screen is not visible.
Oh, wait. Just a minute. Yeah, is it visible now? I will go to file system. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yeah, visible.
Okay, let me. Okay, can you see the files by the way? Okay, just give me a minute.
Files, yeah, visible, screen visible.
Okay. Just, let's say we have this icons. Okay, so till now what you did was you send this to compress zip folder. Okay, this file, right? Till week 3 you had to only zip app.py.
Yeah, we did it like that. Every HTML code was inside that.
Yeah. So why? Because that application was, that app.py file by itself was capable to was capable to zip. Was capable to create HTML files on the go, right? But now since we have Flask, you will need templates folders and other folders also.
What did you tell? It was capable of doing?
It was that HTML file was created by the app.py only, right?
No, this file was a Python file, no, sir.
Yeah. So
and HTML was inbuilt in that, right?
Yeah. So in week 3, till I'm talking about week 3. In week 3, we were students or learners were required to only zip their app.py. Okay.
Correct.
But now since it is week 4 and we have dependencies like templates and static folder, what you have to do is you have to select these files. Okay, whatever you want to zip, I mean templates, app.py, all the files that you're using.
Okay. Means
Do not
we can have
select
folders also.
virtual environment at all, please. Do not select virtual environment if you are creating then also. Okay. So you have to select and then send it to zip folder.
Okay,
so what it will do?
That I got it.
Got, na, right? So this
and
will
zip
create a
means
folder.
we can zip only through that, or RAR will also be there. RAR file will not accept.
No. .zip is fine, right?
Only .zip will be acceptable there.
Yeah. I guess in the extension it says, right, the file type, and it says .zip.
.zip. Only .zip will be.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So where were we? Let's go back to the interface. Yeah. So what I'll do now is I'll share this REPL with you all. Okay, and then maybe you can refer to it later.
Yeah, please share it.
Yeah, same thing. We'll go to main.py, copy link, and where is the chat? Just give me a minute. Yeah, so this is the same REPL, but now it has updated content. So if you fork it, you will have all these files. If time allows, please discuss reading data from a file to a dictionary. Okay, sir, reading data from a file is okay.
One question, sir. Sorry, on the same topic. I had posted it earlier. So from Replit, you can download one file. There's no way to download the entire directory, right?
No. See, if you download this, you will download the this file, right? Main.py.
Yes.
Here,
so
I guess you
each file we have to go download now.
No, you download this as zip from here.
Oh, from the top.
Yeah. From here, you download this as zip. Entire directory with the packages and all will get downloaded.
So then we'll have to pick only the files that we. Okay, thank you. Got it.
So here you shared the link. We will open this link and go to the fork REPL, right? How to do that? And after that, we can download it.
No, so you will have this entire REPL in your REPL. I mean, Replit interface.
Okay. It will be there saved in the same name.
Yeah. So I guess it will have your name and then SWIV4.
Okay. Login is required. We are asking for login.
Yeah, you have to create your account on Replit. Just log in. And
already it is there. Already it is open.
Yeah, then
I'm opening in that only. But still it is asking for this login.
Yeah. So can you log in with the credentials?
Yes. Yeah. Already I have opened the.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in some case with the Replit.
Okay. Yeah. Folder it is open with, because it is going to the edge. Some computer it is there. I need to be saved in our folder. Okay. REPL.
Yeah. It will open as a REPL.
There is no need to save.
No. It will open as a REPL.
In the root, it will be there, no, sir?
Yeah, you can see it in your REPLs. It will open in your REPL. I mean, my REPL, no? Here, my REPLs.
My REPL in the root folder or other folder?
No. You see, you go to this 3 lines on bottom top left.
Yeah, and going to my REPL.
Yeah, my REPLs. Once this REPL is open, once it is open, then you will be able to see your REPL later there.
REPL. Yeah.
So
my REPLs I have opened.
Yeah. No. So were you able to open this REPL?
In the browser.
Yeah, on Replit. After forking.
On Replit. Already after forking, I have opened it. I have logged in also.
Yeah.
But what is the name of the file and folder.
Okay, so yes, if you go to my
This is the
REPLs,
problem.
you will see here, see this name, solve with instructor week 4.
Just maybe it is not something wrong. I'm doing fork REPL.
Yeah.
It is open now. After forking, it is open.
Yeah. Okay. Just give me a minute.
Just yeah, it is open now, and a static folder it is there, and then we should go to the parallel line, my REPL. It should be visible, or we have to save or something. Create.
No, it will be visible later also.
Yes, it is visible.
So you
But
will be seeing it as unnamed. If you can check there.
It is not there. My REPLs are there, but this is not there.
Do you see
Okay.
an unnamed folder at the top?
Where?
A folder named unnamed.
Unnamed. Okay, unnamed is there.
Yeah, please open it. You will find it there.
Yeah, it is unnamed. Thank you.
There.
So nice.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, this was the
So,
problem, because I was facing this problem. Last time also I opened the link, but I could not find it. Unnamed folder is, and
Fine.
unnamed folder is formed in which it is being opened. Right. Last one is also there. Thank you. So nice to give guy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I guess it shows value. I mean, files from unnamed folder only, right? Opened.
Yeah, unnamed. It is in the unnamed folder. I was not recognizing that. Sir.
Fine.
We are
All
not,
right.
First time we
I guess
have
it
to
was.
learn. First time we have to learn.
Okay. No issues. Actually,
Okay,
in my system, it was getting opened directly, so I thought.
Yeah, it varies from system to system. Also, we are using Windows, somebody using Mac or like that.
Yeah. No, don't worry. This will REPL does not have anything to do with that.
That's why I asked, because last time also I could not open the file. I downloaded it, but I found it, but I could not open. I could not recognize where it is. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So nice.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Shall we discuss on this?
So now we will do this lab assignment. This is a nightmare.
Okay, fine.
No, actually,
thank you.
I want to thank you. Have done it very, very patiently. You have explained. I think if people watch this video, I think they will finish the assignment in within maybe an hour. So thank you so much. Really, very, very patiently you have done it. From 10, actually, you almost finished 3 hours. Thank you.
Okay.
I also thank you very much, because whatever I learned for this web designing, only from your videos. That's all. Okay.
It's good to hear that. Okay, fine. You're finding the sessions helpful.
Really. And the last time I saw your, I think, live session through 2 or 3 times. Then I could submit my lab assignment of week 3.
Okay, fine. It's good to hear. I mean, sessions
really,
are helpful.
It is very fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Somebody, yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, I'm just sending you a link. Just go to that link once and run it. And I mean, this is a lab for assignment. I have been trying this from Sunday only. I cannot understand what exceptions. What is wrong with my code. Just run it and enter a course ID and see if anything is wrong with it.
Okay, fine. Yeah. But I'll probably not be able to, give you a response within this session. I'll see, I'll go through it and then check the code and maybe get back to you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. That works, sir.
All right. So maybe you can, so you have sent this.
Sir, this is also required, sir. I also faced in the week 3 also. I did it. I am doing 2 or 3 days I'm putting, but I'm not able to check where is the bug. And either it is being uploaded nor it is being checked, because we are not so intelligent to check all the bugs. A minor bug was there, just integer was there like that, but I could not do that. So some provisions should be there, so that just he is doing what Abhishek is shared here. How can we share the whole code? Because I was not sharing on the discourse also, because the whole code cannot be shared there also. That will be plagiarism like that. So how to do that? Individually, support system should be there for the initial cases. But after that, we will do it, because here we are learning in the first phase. We are not knowing how to do the replit, how to download it. We are in the initial phase, but we are lagging behind. I could not submit the first lab assignment due to this only.
Okay, fine. So what I'll do is I'll send my email ID to you.
Mail
everyone,
ID, sir. Yes. Yes, sir,
you can share the code and
individually, and you just
yeah.
check it whether this will be fine.
Yeah, so that
today I will need it, please.
Actually, sir, from my end, the problem is not to detect error that is from my side. Let's say I have any problem with the code, I can detect it and I can solve it. But problem happens when I am trying to upload it. There, the evaluation, the evaluation is finding something wrong with it, with the code. But I cannot understand what is wrong. That is the main problem, sir.
This is also the problem, because initially we are not so conversant with all these things. We are just learning.
Yeah, fine. So so this
and
can
directly
be
we are given to do either 0 or 1. We cannot work in a Boolean environment right now. We have to have a text environment by getting some error codes corrected like that. Some support system is required, sir. What you are sharing, it will be very fine, very helpful. We will share it individually, not in the discourse, because the whole code cannot be shared in the discourse. It will be not fine for the plagiarism point of view. So individually, instructor can check whether we are doing wrong or right, because we are putting our effort. 2 or 3 days we are taking for designing if this is not good, fine. But we did it.
Yeah, fine. All right, no issues. So see, I've given
share
my
mail ID, sir. We will.
Yeah, I've given my email ID on the chat, right? So you can take it and probably give, send your submission with what error it is showing exactly.
Yeah,
sir. We can see.
Thank you, sir. So nice of you. Thank you.
Okay, fine. All right. So, So if there is nothing else, shall we close the session? I hope the session was okay.
Yeah, sir. Extended so much. So nice of you. Thank you.
Okay, fine. All right. All right. So we'll officially close this session now.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now my office will start. I suspended all the meetings today for you, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Go ahead. Have your meetings.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.